Faisal, you've done so many incredible retreats over the past 40 years, all of which are, confidential recordings or were done live and people don't have access to them. And I wonder if you could talk about various aspects of Essenz, the gradations, the various kinds of Essenz. I think it'd be wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe just a little introductory that we've been doing these videos, for some time now. And the approach we've been taking is more like partly transmissions of an in-depth dimensions of being, states of being, whether about the absolute or the point of light. That is not so much revealed, talked about. Some of it is about the issues related to them, and some of the videos about the difficulties that the seekers reach in the path. Some of it is for encouragement. Some of it is carrots, temptations, saying, okay, ride your horse and pioneer, venture, don't be, shaking your boots, it's okay, but still look, explore, allow your spirit to shine, to have the courage to venture, to look. So some of it is invitation, I think of it like we created a feast, from appetizers to heavy duty meals to, I don't know, desserts, all of those things. So this is our intention, is like, sometimes it misses on the in-depth, inquiry and following the issues, but hopefully it gives a flavor of the work. And the work has so much depth and richness and really requires sincere pursuit and devotion, and Essenz doesn't yield itself easily, not because it resists, it's because we are full of resistances. Essenz is available. Pure being is available. We breathe it, we sleep in it, we awaken, and all of that thing. But our issues, our armoring, our blockages, our conditioning, our ego structure, personality structure, stops us from accessing being. So it requires so much inner struggle, inner drive, inner momentum to persevere, to continue. As the Dalai Lama said, never give up, no matter how difficult it is, never give up, And that takes me to an aspect of Essenz, to give an example about the richness of being. Maybe we talked about it, but, I repeat, and I hope the audience forgot, so it will be refreshing. And just to give a flavor of, like every dimension of Essenz is like an ocean, it's like a lake. You go swim in, and then you dive deeper and deeper and deeper, and you discover in the diving different gradations. And those gradations of this aspect of being help the person in healing and functioning in life and cultivating the necessary elements to do what they really need in life, whether it's elements of will or courage or love or intelligence or wisdom or patience. We need those elements, but we lost so much of them in the struggle in our childhood and in the way we live. So I'll give an example of one of those qualities that is really, I love it, it's very beautiful. It's a quality we call the aspect of will, of Essenz, that has to do with will. And by will, we mean not efforting. The efforting, the determination, that is not real will. That is, let's say, efforting. That's false will. That is determination and efforting, and it's exhausting. While the real will is the ability to surrender, the ability to relax, the ability to let being come through and work on the person and to feel at ease, grounded, confidence in walking their walk in life. And this quality, of course, like any other quality, is blocked by gradations of issues. So I'll give an example of what a person might go through. Let's say first with the aspect of essence pertaining to the will. Which aspect? It has to do with white essence. Essence has variety of dimensions: white light, green light, clear light, golden light, or white dimension, gold dimension, diamond dimension, dimensions, gradations, like a whole universe hidden from us. And I really hope the scientists will refine their machines and begin to detect those frequencies. They are here. So this white essence, when it descends in the system, and any quality of it, it has the effect of ease, relaxation, effortlessness. It's like Aikido versus karate. Aikido is like the way of surrender. You don't use much of your power. You go with the flow. In fact, you use even your, the enemy's power to encounter.
Take them down.
Yeah, take them down. So it's really very beautiful, very easygoing. Karate, like encountering the ego, and when you see the Buddha kill him or kill the ego, the spiritual journey or the life journey, when we go that way, becomes continual efforting and continual stress. So
The American way.
The American way, yes. And the American is really struggling. The American and the German, the two cultures struggling with white essence,
Yeah.
Two different aspects of white essence, And, John Wayne leaving at the end of the movie all alone, going in the sunset, leaving his loved one behind, and the Indians behind, everybody, It's this longing for individuation and doing my own thing, and I'm going to do it my own way, leads to the false will.
Like a defensive autonomy.
Yes. And while the other one is more like you individuate and you have your own autonomy, but in harmony with what there is. You are not defensive, You are open, you're relaxing, you see what is around, what's between you and the others, and what's the society, and all of that. This quality of ease is what the white essence does when it lands in the body, in the nervous system, glandular system, muscle system. It gives it the ease. Other qualities don't give it that. For example, red essence gives it an upness, vitality. You want to pick up your tennis racket and go, or jogging or dancing or something like that. While this one is like the camel crossing the desert, very efficient, very relaxed. It gives you a sense of how to be in touch with yourself, with your presence, and in being efficient with your energy. You don't waste it in reactivity or mental activity or wasteless action. When you see like a Tai Chi master, when they move their arm, they generate energy. While people, when they move their arm, it's dissipating of energy. It causes, muscle ache and all of those things. So white gives that sense of ease. Now, white can come as white light. And white light helps the mind be relaxed, spacious, at ease. It relieves it from so many obsessions about this or about that. You just have your mind relaxed and easy going, and your body is relaxed.
Faisal, may I ask, when you say when the white comes?
Yes.
Can you say a little more about that?
Yeah, like if you meditate, for example, right? And invoke it, or sometimes you might have a transmission happen to you, or sometimes grace. Some people feel like they woke up, or one night they were going to sleep, and so much white light shines through them, you know. So it comes through variety of ways, through hard work, through grace, through transmission, through merging. Sometimes, you know, like some people have so much white light, you know, really you merge with them, you get cozy, you know. And 9, for example, in the Enneagram has a mixture of white light and numbness, you know. But when you are close to a 9 body, if you don't get numb, you know, you feel ease in your body. You feel cozy in your body because their body is really relaxed, you know. While if you go to another fixation, it may be so wired and so agitated, and they don't have that quality. So it comes, yes, it comes through different kind of inspirations or guidances. Let's say that, for example, let's take quality which we call latifa. Latifa is a subtle quality of white. It is mostly like fluff white and maybe silver white, you know, like silver quality. Now, let's take a person, let's say, want to sit and meditate. I'll address the seekers, right? Somebody want to sit and meditate, and each time they sit and meditate, they encounter so much resistance within, you know. There's so much spacing out or afraid or defensive or so many things doesn't allow them. They cannot even sometimes sit, meditate half an hour or an hour, let alone if you tell them 3 hours, you know, or the Dalai Lama waking up at 3:30 in the morning till 8 in the morning, meditating, you know. So they don't have this stamina inside. They don't have this capacity to sit and relax and allow what happens, whatever need to happen. When the person looks inside, like, why are they restless? Why are they impatient? You know, why are they spacing out? Why are they so scared? You know, why can't they just relax and be in their meditation? When they begin to ask, to inquire, then little by little, certain anxiety might begin to surface. You know? Certain fear, certain anxiety that there's something inside them or something. First, it may be from the outside. They might think they have no time or they're gonna space out, they're not gonna work. The superego comes and distract them and threaten them about something bad. But if they say, no, I disengage from that, then and focus inside, they begin to feel like as if there's certain kind of fear, certain kind of anxiety begin to emerge, as if something within them or somebody within them is gonna attack them. So it's not the society, it's not they're gonna lose their friends, it's not they're gonna be hippies, none of all of that superego. It is something inside. And when they stay with that fear, especially when they go below the solar plexus, right above the stomach, there is a center there. There is a ganglia there. And this ganglia, we call it the...
lunar plex?
Lunar, yes. It's the moon, you know. The solar is the sun, this one, the lunar, and the belly is the earth center. So the planets are within us, you know. We have their energies. So then the person begin to feel anxiety and agitation and fear. This ganglia begin to activate. And if they persist in patience and staying with it, then images might come. And most of the time, the program that blocks the silver quality, you know, is the presence of, let's say, a superego that's gonna beat them up. And it's really associated so much in our work with castration anxiety. You know, that if the child wanna stick it out, wanna come out, assert itself, it's cut off. So then the superego, especially at the age of 2, you know, when the terrible 2 comes, when the child, the baby is in its will power, you know, it wants to run the show its way, then, you know, if you know, I mean, I'm sure you know, I know how you lock horns with them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to Toys R Us and see Third World War, you know, happening in every corridor, you know. The child wants the toy and the mother saying no, or the father saying no. And so battle of will, get engaged. The child will want something. And so if this stage is handled with care, with love, with moderation, then the child can outgrow it and begin to realize live and let live. You know, it's not always your way. There is more ease, there is more exchange. If it is broken, then it brings severe castration and makes the person feel so insecure inside. So this quality, this will, silver, I call it personal will. It's the will to feel victorious inside, that something was defeating me inside and I revealed it and I got rid of it. I saw my father or my mother or whatever memories there that used to scare me, and they are like ghosts leaving my system. Then white light or white silver comes here, and this lunar plexus begin to feel solid. We feel like inside I am victorious. Nothing scaring me about being with me. I feel like I can sit with my meditation, I can enjoy it, and even if I don't enjoy it, I can sit with whatever needs to come, you know, issues, fear, anger, loneliness, whatever, you know, or glory. I feel a little bit victorious that I won over this part of the superego that is scaring me inside. And so many people so afraid to be with themselves. They're so, you know, like locked up inside. So then
So I was just going to ask, as it relates to personal will, are you saying that gets damaged in that toddler stage, or can it get damaged at any point throughout the
at any point? At
yeah,
any point.
okay.
Usually the will stage where all those wills begin to be entangled, you know?
Okay.
But some can happen earlier, you know? Some, in fact, some of those aspects of will, like let's say the white essence, some children lost it in the womb, prenatal, you know? Because if the family doesn't have will essence, if mother was feeling ungrounded, father was feeling castrated, ungrounded, there is no white essence. So the family has a hole in it, a hole of feeling of lack of support. Nobody there can support each other. Everybody is broken or defeated or acting out, you know. So the quality of white is not even existing in the household. So sometimes some people, when they go deep in their meditation and they, you know, go through the different gradations of white, they reach something very deep, that this quality is that alien, it's been alien in their life, all their life. And they envy others who are relaxed and confident, you know. So then they can trace it to something was missing prenatal when they were formulating their system. Then they can retrieve the white essence to come down. So this one gives confidence, gives sense of confidence, sense of ease, sense that, yeah, now I am victorious inside. And this is in general related to the prophet Moses facing Pharaoh, you know. Pharaoh is the superego, you know, the part that castrating and cutting and all of those things. And Moses, who stood up, shaking in his boots, but he stood up, you know, and dismantled Pharaoh. So it has to do with seeing the superego and the different structures, the gradations of it, and releasing it. So it gives inner confidence inside. But then you sit and you feel, yes, when I am alone, I really feel at ease. I feel good. But when I go out, I lose it. When I am with others, I lose it. When I am working with a client, I lose it. When I am working in the office, I lose it, you know. So this quality seems to be not powerful enough, not sufficient enough to make me feel even more relaxed and confident in worldly situation, you know, or even with my loved ones. Sometimes some people cannot even feel relaxed even with their family members, you know, or with their friends, but they can be with themselves, you know, more at ease, and they kind of isolate. But usually when the silver awakens, it kicks in to awaken the other qualities. When any quality of essence has a domino effect, you know. So then the Personally, you feel you're victorious, but outside you feel insecure. So when you begin to feel that, you might begin to realize that, yeah, you really didn't have, let's say, a father or parents, that take you out to the world and introduce you to the world and introduce the world to you, like, in many cultures, for example, the boy is taken out and the girl is not taken out. So you see, even in different cultures, they might have, the boys might have different kind of will and the woman might have different kind of will. So to understand those differences due to the culture help the understanding of cultures and what happened to individuals.
Yes,
So,
and you know what, Faisal? It's perfect with COVID right now. People
yes.
have been in for 3 months, and I actually have clients who are feeling like, I realize how much I go into personality when I'm out in the outside world, in my work life and whatever, and they're seeing more groundedness since being alone and in a different situation.
Yes. So it really helps. I think the whole earth now is entering one aspect, one emanation of it is the white holy city, is really is resting from all the bombardment, that we bombarded with cars and airplanes and, madness. Now it's really shining, it's shining with a lot more than that. So then the person, as they begin to see they had no support to take them to the world, they are afraid of the world, they are lonely, they are scared, they are, or the world was harsh on them, like some kids get beaten or picked on or something like that. When they begin to see this constellations of issues and begin to relax into them and feel the loss of no support, there was no father or mother taking their hands and introducing them to the world, then the fear and the blockage begin to release. And then they begin to feel a certain quality of essence, much more solid than the silver. Silver feels still soft, but this one feels more dense. And for a seer, knower, feeler, it feels like platinum. And it fills up the whole pelvic floor, and then it fills in the body with a feeling of confidence and ease, solidity. You feel you're walking in downtown, you're not walking on planet XYZ and I don't know what, and aliens, even though it's true, we're walking among aliens, but it feels more at ease and it feels more like less self-centered. Feel like you can be with your friends and you can listen to them and be present with them. You feel that there is a bigger support for you, not just to be within you, but also to be within you and with the others. So this is platinum. We call it universal will. It's the will that goes beyond the personal to more, much more than an individual. So this is another quality. A third quality, for example, you feel, yes, you are now more grounded in the world and grounded inside, but you feel somehow you either don't know what you want to do in life, which walk you want to walk, or you feel you know it, but you don't dare walk it. See? Like for me, I was a poet in Kuwait. I love poetry, I love the Arabic language, and my mind was so in tune with that. My soul was so in tune with that. But everybody was saying, this is a waste of time to go study Arabic language and poetry, and this is for the fools and the idiots of the 15th century. Now we are in the 20th century, it's science, And so I was good. So I studied science, I was afraid that I'll be left behind and, all of those things. And after years in science, I reached the end. All my system dried up. I was getting 4-point average, but so what, math dried me up, physics dried me up, all of those things. Then I couldn't. And I had to leave the whole scientific field and go into therapy, And therapy started juicing me up and it became more inspirational. And I wish I could write more poetry. I wrote 4 books of poetry, but I became a poem. My life became a poem. You know, I am the poet, I am the poem, and the existence is a poetry, you know. And even my introduction to Essenz and invitation to Essenz, I inject it with poetical images and vocabulary to enhance the language, to enhance the human consciousness with something beautiful, you know.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so I couldn't walk that walk because everybody said, are you crazy? You know? So then when I left the scientific field and walked the therapeutic field, it felt like I was walking my walk. You know, something in me wanted to do. I always wanted to know humanity. I always wanted to know psychology and something deep and all of those things. But then I felt, what am I going to do with that, you know? I didn't feel enough support from within me to continue the walk, you know? But I persisted with my own determination. I felt I have to do it. I have to do it, you know? You know, that little train, that little, you know, I can do it, I can do it. And then when I went to Kuwait, after years of therapy, I went to Kuwait, and it was a disaster that way, because here comes Faisal, who was supposed to take over the Ministry of Education and change the education system in Kuwait and all of this, coming like a hippie, sitting, meditating, doing yoga, all of those things. So I was hit by the social impact, you know. But I felt I was right. I was on the right path, but I didn't have the certainty. I didn't have the strength, the knowledge. Naturally, I had to muster it up. I used to meditate 6 to 8 hours a day, you know, and some of my friends gathered around me and they felt like I was really having something very beautiful, you know. So they got interested. So I formulated group for men and group for women doing bioenergetics, meditation, and I felt validated and my soul felt stronger and stronger. And came a day that I felt, wow, this is my path. This is the path I have always wanted, you know, that now I feel steady about it. Something landed, something so solid, so impeccable, so powerful landed that I remember a saying of the Prophet Muhammad, you know, when he received the revelation, the people around him said to him, throw this revelation and come and worship the idols we have, you know. It'll be better for you, it'll be better for us, it will not divide us, you are coming with a new religion. And he said to them, if you put the sun in my right palm and the moon in my left palm, so I would leave this path, I won't. That means if you give me all the kingdoms of heaven and earth, I won't leave it. That was the feeling that came. And when I realized, what is it? I realized there was an entity, a structure. And that structure, the only thing I could see a resemblance of it is the Portala Palace of the Dalai Lama. You know, the old Portala Palace, all white, and on top of it, domes of gold. And this one was a structure, like a citadel, you know, of platinum diamonds, white, solid platinum diamonds, and on top of it, golden diamond domes, you know, and it gives the feeling of walking the walk toward truth, the orientation toward truth, the orientation toward heart. Belly is white, gold is heart, and this gave me the courage, the perseverance to walk my walk, to know it. So this is a third kind of will, or a fourth kind of will, the walk to know what you want, you know, and to walk that walk regardless of how difficult it may be, how discouraging it may be. When you deal with this quality that even your family didn't support you, or the society doesn't support you, and you get over those, excuse me, those fears and those, you know, all of those things, the citadel land. And the more the citadel land, the more you feel really empowered to walk that walk, you know. Then this is a bigger will. This is the courage to walk your soul, you know, soul purpose, mission. Yeah. And then there comes another will. You feel like, for example, the will of the social, you know, the social, like the American way, or the Kuwaiti way, or the German way, you know, and you feel like it rules you. And so many people now are ruled by the conditioning they have, you know. They really believe that to be American is to be this way, you know. They completely forget that the American is a human and can be anything. You don't have to be just white. You don't have to be just black. You can be any color. You can be any light. You are a human, you know. So then there is societal, you know, conditioning in which you feel if you want to be who you are, and if you want to have an identity, and if you want to walk your walk and all of those things, you have to adapt to this social conditioning. And this social conditioning coincide usually with some of what happens in the family history, the family hall, and what happens there, and how the culture influence the family. You know, the American culture so much about white, but it's more about silver, individuated. I do my own thing. Germany is about the citadel. You know, I am the unbeatable, the excellence, and all of those things. And so when you begin to see the different cultures and all of those things, that they produce an inner self-defeating structure, self-defeating program, you know, that generates fears and anxiety, covered up by sense of loyalty and devotion to being American, the American flag, or the Kuwaiti flag, or all, so much nonsense built around a whole, around a certain belief system that programs the individuals to become a certain way. If you are American, you are this way. If you are a Kuwaiti, you are this way, you know. And it takes away the humanness, it takes away the creativity, the individuation, the spiritedness, and try to contain it and funnel it in a certain way. And politicians are very good in manipulating this plane. This plane is, one way to call it, is the unholy city. It's like a city of defilement, of unholiness, you know, some virtues, but most of the virtues are also used to mislead the soul into adapting certain way, you know. And if I am Russian, I have to hate the Americans. If I am American, I have to hate the Chinese. It's you know, it's manipulating my feeling, my spirit. So when the person sees this giant matrix, this giant program, they begin to be free from it. It begins to break, and they feel the presence of a solid, much solid structure than the citadel, much bigger structure. And we call it the holy city. It's like a city made of jewels and diamonds. And if you know, anybody who is interested, you can read about it in the Revelation, in the book of John, the Revelation, you know, in the last chapter, you know, after blowing up the seventh trumpet, Jerusalem, he calls it Jerusalem land. And Jerusalem is a holy city made of diamond and jewels, and has palaces and rivers and trees grow from it, grows all kinds of healings to nations. It's the essential domain. It's the totality of the essential domain. And you feel that you are not being supported by your community. That's true, has some validity, you know. Maybe Kuwaitis help Kuwaitis, Americans help Americans, but usually it's minimum, you know, really. That you feel what is sustaining you and sustaining existence is an essential domain, much bigger than friends, than family, than society, than nationalities, than the collective, the human collective. So then you feel as if this stage that shapes you into a certain actor or actress, you know, the stage and the directors and all of that is dismantled. And you feel as if you're landing, your inner feet is landing on a solid plateau of essential domain, generating from the absolute infinite emanations of love, of energy, of creativity. Your soul feels like landed grounded in this realm, that this realm is not held by biochemical and mechanical, these are mechanisms of creation, but it is held by something even much more, the divine design behind it, the holy laws governing it. This whole kingdom is created with utmost, efficiency, science, love, poetry, vision. You feel you land in a much grander, victory. But you're still in structures. You feel, it's wonderful structure. Then comes time, you feel like, as if somehow, what if all the structures pulled from underneath your feet? You feel you want to be even free from structures, Then you let go of your attachment to the whole spiritual journey, to all of what is around that you feel is being supporting you, and a bigger whole opens up. The whole of feeling that maybe the universe doesn't have basic ground. Maybe it has an essential ground, but not something basic ground. And when that is allowed, then you feel as if the whole universe begin to shine and become luminous brilliancy, an ocean of brilliancy, an infinite ocean of brilliancy. From it comes all those different gradations of brilliancy. You reach the ocean and you feel, wow, this universe is really supportive. Supportive, not just to human, not to this, it is an intrinsic element of its nature is support, is surrender. And then you feel, now I surrender to God's will. It's good. It's really good. God's will is good. And it comes from first hand. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. So the ocean brilliancy opens up. Then, of course, feels like the will has integrated. I might have missed a few things, different gradations, but these are like diving in the ocean brilliancy. One aspect of will after another, and each aspect poses a deficiency, a castration, a fear, and as you release them, those qualities come and enhance your existence, and you're walking in life the way that feels really dignified, human, beautiful, and then you want everybody to walk that walk. A grounded person or a courageous person or lion-hearted person want everybody to be the same. A coward want to win over others. The brave wants everybody to win. No brave can win on anybody. Really. So if you feel supported by all of this. So this is something about the richness of being, how much there is, And some of those gradations, some people like in their meditation sink in them and meditate. They have the contemplative capacity. Some people don't need to go through all the gradation. They might need citadel. They might need silver, So just to know that there are the elements that can help us gain the ease and the confidence in who we are, in our nature, in our creation, and help us to function in life.
So beautiful. May it be so.
Yeah, really, may it be so.
Thank you, Faisal.